out my earlier episodes about batching, you know how much I love it and use it all the time. But on this week's episode, we're going to be talking about something that's a little bit more in depth. Let's say you want to take a break from your business. You have a busy quarter coming up, and you know that you're not going to be able to record weekly like you're used to, or do anything that you normally would because your schedule is just going to be crammed. I know for me, you've heard me talk before about open enrollment for one of my other businesses. So we try to batch record and get as many things done ahead of time as possible. But you could also use this strategy if you want to take a break from your business. One of my clients takes every December off. And so she's got to plan ahead. So that way there's still things happening in December, even though she is not actively in her business. You could also use this strategy if you're having a baby. One of my clients recently reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've got to plan ahead. I know this is coming. I've got 9 months to prepare, but I want to be able to take an extended period of time off to be with my baby, bond with my baby, and I want to make sure that everything runs smoothly while I'm gone." So that's what we're going to be diving into today. You can use this strategy for multiple different things, whatever stage of life you are in, whatever situation is going on in your business. But here's how I plan ahead so that everything continues to run smoothly in my business while I'm focused on something else. One of the biggest things that is so important is to include your team members. Now, if you're a team of one, totally okay. That's not something that you need to really share with anybody. But if you have a team that you're working with, you've got to loop them in early. You've got to make sure that everybody is on the same page and knows what's happening. Know what your plan is, that you're either taking a couple months off, you've got a really busy season coming up, whatever the case may be, making sure that your team is aware of it and making sure that they know that there's a plan coming that you're going to work together with them on to make sure that everything flows smoothly while you're out of the office. I think it's important for you to create a business for your team that is very easy to work for. These urgent tasks, these urgency of we got to get this done tomorrow because it's got to be posted is not healthy for anyone, not yourself and not your team. So making sure that everyone knows ahead of time what's happening, even if it's months in advance and you feel like I should probably wait to tell them, don't. Now is the time to make sure that everybody's on the same page so everybody can mark it in their calendars. Now, for us, our busy season is September through December. And of course, that complicates things a little bit because we've got two major holidays that some of my team wants to be part of with their family. So that includes a lot of time off. So we've got a couple different layers that factor into us planning ahead, not only to make sure that things continue to run, but also the fact that even though our team is taking a break over the holidays, our community of people is still getting help with what they need help with, even though we're taking a break. Now, you know that I love to plan things in 90-day chunks. So this kind of strategy is very easy for me, but if you're not used to planning in 90-day chunks, you might find it even more helpful to plan things out by month. So what I do is I get out my big calendar and I look at the days that are in the month. So if we're looking at fourth quarter, we actually add an extra month onto that. So we have September, October, November, and December. So 4 months total. So we're looking at what needs to be done in that chunk of time. Now, if you're watching this video on YouTube, if you're listening to this podcast on Spotify or iTunes, you're not going to be able to see this picture that I'm about to show you, which is actually our calendar. So make sure you check out the video on YouTube because I think there's some helpful things that will really give you visual reference. So what I'm showing you right now is my calendar mapped out in my planner of all the different episodes that are coming up. What are the different episode numbers? What are additional videos that are going to be posted to our YouTube channel that we need to record ahead of time? Same thing with any other task in your business, whether it's a podcast or YouTube videos. Even social media posting, a lot of that stuff can be scheduled ahead of time. Now, some of it can't, but the majority of it can. So, breaking down every single month and doing what I did with sticky notes and just putting down where you think things will go can be huge for giving you a visual reference of what things need to look like. Now, we use a combination of paper planning as well as digital planning. So I start by mapping out everything on my paper planner to kind of give myself an overall view. But then I also load all this stuff into Asana, which is where my team can view everything and to make sure that everything stays on track according to our calendar. But the first step is mapping it out. And I love to do this with sticky notes. Now, one thing that I decided to do this year that really worked for us last year was also to include January into this time frame. Because after December, a lot of folks want to take time off after New Year's or after the holidays to just kind of regroup. So I included January in this chunk of time. So we have from September to January mapped out and figured out of how many things we need to get pre-recorded or pre-done prior to September. Now, what makes this really easy is that, yes, it is a lot of work in July and August to get prepared, but because everything is set on autopilot for the remaining months, it takes so much stress off of you, especially if you as the business owner or you as the podcaster or you as a social media person is trying to relax on vacation or during the holidays. Knowing that all this stuff is taken care of can take a huge weight off your shoulders because it's all on autopilot. Now, you can monitor it, of course, to make sure that everything is getting posted the way that it should, but that is literally a quick couple second check, and then you're off social media or wherever you might need to double check where things are being posted. Another thing that my team and I have been working really hard on is to ramp up our automation. So if this is not something that you've looked into before, this is the time to do it. Now, do I encourage you to start a brand new system while you're out of the office? Absolutely not. But I think there's certain things that you can integrate now and work the kinks out as long as you give yourself a long enough runway. So if you're like me and you're looking to start this in September, we've actually been working on these systems and automations since January. And that is super helpful because it's given us a long enough time to not only build them out, but test them and tweak them and make sure that they are representing our brand exactly how we want it to be. Now, you've heard me talk about on previous episodes of how we've used Calendly to automate our scheduling for the business. That is something that has literally changed the way we do business in the best way possible. So that's an easy first start. If you're like, I just want to get things scheduled and I don't necessarily want to be the one responsible for that or have my team do that, that is an easy one to start with. It's going to require some testing and tweaking, but give yourself a couple months just to make sure that everything is working out the way you want before you step away and take that break. Another thing that you can do in regards to automation is making sure that you're reviewing all your current funnels. So if you have automation already set up, now would be a great time to go through that, double check that everything is working properly and the way it should be. You want to give yourself, again, enough time to make any of those changes before you step away from the office, because there's nothing more stressful than being away from your area, your office, your computer, wherever it might be, and something pop up and you have to try to fix it from a different location, whether that's a hotel room or out of the country, wherever you might be. Getting all that stuff prepared now will be so much less stressful when you get the time to leave. I think one of the most important things you can do when you're prepping for a break is to make sure that you are mentally prepared for it. Because if you're like me, you are knee deep in your business every single day. And it would be really weird if all of a sudden you didn't work your business for an entire month. That would be so weird. So you've got to mentally prepare yourself for that. So that way you don't find yourself jumping on your computer, checking emails when you should be relaxing or taking care of your baby, whatever the case may be, make sure that you are mentally preparing yourself to take that break. Along with making sure that your team is aware of it, you should also make your clients aware of it. If you are taking a maternity leave or heading out of the country for an extended period of time, sending out blast emails to your clients and letting them know that you won't be available ahead of time, but that your schedule is open and available now for any questions gives your clients the sense that you care enough to include them. And yes, they probably will have questions, but those might be answered in a super quick email because you've got the bulk of that conversation done ahead of time before you leave. So whichever way you decide to go with taking your break, whether it's a full, we're closing out, we're not doing anything, we're just going to let our socials roll, or you're going to be taking a hybrid approach where you'll still be working, but only for, let's say, 1 hour a day, making sure that not only your team, but your clients are prepared for that will go a long way in getting you mentally prepared to take that much deserved break that you need.